Welcome to the Flight Club Podcast, a woman's guide to leaning out. We give you a behind-the-scenes look at business launch and growth through the stories of successful female entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Felina Hansen, founder and CEO of Hera Hub.
Hello and welcome. I am excited about my conversation today with Kristen Newsome. She is the founder and executive director of a nonprofit organization called My Sister's Keeper Success Institute, which serves Southwest Riverside County here in California. The mission of the organization is to help girls in underrepresented communities, typically ages 10 to 17, become bold, confident world changers as they explore careers in STEAM, which is, many of us know STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And STEAM is adding art into that mix. Entrepreneurship and develop strategies. She works with these teens to develop strategies for personal growth and development. She helps set young women on the path towards economic empowerment, independence, leadership, and self-confidence. Welcome to the show today, Kristen.
Thank you, Felina. It's good to be here.
Wonderful. Well, I am looking forward to sharing your story and your career path and how you came to launch this organization. So take us back and tell us about you.
Well, a little bit about me. I was actually born in Gary, Indiana.
Oh.
A long time ago. We don't have to say how long ago that was. I am the oldest of three. And actually, I'm sorry, the oldest of four.
Okay, you forgot somebody
and
there.
I have no sisters. I have only brothers. So They are wonderful, wonderful young men. Most of my life, I felt as though I was challenged as a young person to really fully express who I felt I was. I was a lover of reading, of exploration, of the arts. I played the violin as a child. I was also involved in drama and the arts. I was a young writer. I wrote my very first book in the fourth grade. I had so much on the inside of me, also a love of architecture. I love to build things. And as I grew and began to look at what career path I might enjoy, I really struggled to pinpoint one particular path. College was an interesting transition for me. I married very young to a military member who whisked me off on adventures in faraway places, which further expanded my understanding of the world and things that I might like to invite myself to do. But finished my undergraduate in psychology, interestingly enough, I think to really better understand myself and how I was wired and what I should be doing in the world. Always had a passion for education. I was raised by educators. And so really, really had a passion for learning and for discovery. Years later, after raising my own family, I had a daughter who was very passionate about science, and because my career path had taken me in a direction of helping others find their fit, which is interesting. That discovery often begins with us and then branches to others once you realize that, hey, so much better in life to do what you feel passionate about. And I know that you discuss that a lot in your book. To be connected to what makes your heart sing. And so I believe I initially thought I had found one passion of mine, which was helping people through career development and self-exploration. So I pursued that path. I've worked for the United States government, Department of Navy, and the United States Marine Corps, both for their transition and career department, helping people who had a full military career to transition to civilian life. I've also worked as a a business coach for business owners, primarily in the real estate industry, but also in other small business ventures who are looking to build their business by referral. I also have done a lot of work as a vocational counselor, helping young people to find their fit and their career paths. So with all of this kind of culminating in my life, it only made sense that I would invite my own daughter, who was pursuing her career, her education as a scientist, to dig deeper and to really, honor that experience that she wanted to have. And I think finding that to be so difficult for her was really what ignited the passion in me to start my Sisters Keeper Success Institute. We want to inspire young women, and particularly young women of color, that they get to write the narrative on who they are and what they pursue. And so oftentimes, my daughter would find herself in classrooms, for example, inorganic chemistry or some other class like that, and she was one of the only females and also the only woman of color in her classes, often made to feel that she didn't belong there. And so I just felt very strongly about creating community where these young women can feel empowered and supported to pursue whatever life path they choose, and especially since STEM and STEAM are emerging industries that are going to be guiding pretty much everything we do in life going forward, that certainly these young women deserve a seat at the table in that space.
Absolutely. That's great. So when did you actually form the 501c3 nonprofit organization?
We formed in May of 2017.
Great.
And so we are just coming into our third year here in 2020.
That's great. And talk about the name. How did you come up with the name for the organization?
So again, with my heart and my vision being for creating a community, my Sister's Keeper for me just spoke to the sense of always having my sisters back, always being ready to support, to encourage, and to advocate for other women who are aspiring for more in life. And so even our logo is an angel with wings of color that are extending behind her, and she's back to back with her sister angel, and their wings are crossing. So that's significant because it's stating that we cover one another, we support one another. Also, why Hera Hub resonated so much with me, because you get that sense of community and women collaborating and advocating for women. So it's a very important message in my organization and a very important core value that we stand by.
Fantastic. So let's get into the organization, what you do, a little more on who you serve, how you implement all the initiatives that you've put forward.
Awesome. So again, our program is really geared towards young women in the age category of 10 to 17. Our vision and our scope eventually will encompass younger women, because we know that really to flip the switch for passion in STEM and STEAM is important that we do this as early as possible. So for now, we are focusing on that middle school to high school age range, and giving them an opportunity to explore careers, to pursue growth industries, and not just industries that seem interesting, but industries that are actually going to be there over the next 10 to 20 years. Eliminating the gender wage gap by focusing on STEM, because what we know is that statistics show us that the smallest margin in the wage gap exists in science and engineering. And then also to address gender and racial bias by bringing more young women of color into the space of STEAM and showing them that they have a place there. So we still have the challenge of underrepresentation in these areas, particularly in computing, science, and engineering occupations. And so our focus really is providing mentors. We believe that, because we are underrepresented, as often as we have the opportunity to connect these young women with people who are making the possibility happen, it just increases their affinity to want to pursue as well, that they can see someone who is like them, that's in the pursuit and actually doing it. That is a huge component of our program, and just providing those mentors that are able to show the students, here's what I do. Here are the types of problems that I solve in the world, and this is how I solve them. Gives the girls kind of a bird's eye view into the world of STEAM, and showing them exactly how these problems are solved and how it might be a match for them.
That's great.
We offer 5-week STEAM mentoring pathways, and we've titled them, Felina, after almost a superhero context. So we have Saving the Planet, which are our environmental science, helping people live healthy lives, which is our medical science, connecting people and information, which is our technology area, and then How Things Work, which is more of our engineering, mathematics, and avionics. And so we also have a goal to set up 10-week coding clubs. We are global partners with Girls Who Code, and we have the capability to function 10-week coding clubs in which girls learn the basic fundamentals of computer science and how to code, which coding is essentially the fundamental language of all things computer science. So it's definitely the way ahead, and the way for girls to have that competitive edge as they continue and progress in their careers. In addition to our STEAM mentoring, we also have half-day workshops where we're able to focus on the arts and bring in the arts as a very important piece of creativity and innovation. We also have an entrepreneurship series where we call Girl Boss Business, and we encourage young women to think entrepreneurially about everything. We encourage them to learn about how to monetize ideas, how to present and pitch their ideas to people who might be stakeholders and supporters. So even if a girl does not particularly want to have her own business, we certainly encourage her to think like an entrepreneur, because there's so many ways to create multiple streams of income. It doesn't mean that you have to own a large corporation. It could just mean that you protect an idea and monetize that idea, which could, in some cases could fund college tuition, could supplement, things that she has a desire for or wants to buy. There's so many ways to approach life, and so we do our very best to bring girls to that exposure in a variety of ways.
Fantastic. Love it. Few questions. Are most of these programs being done as supplements to school, or are you able to go into the classroom setting with some of these programs?
Great question. Currently, we are an after-school program. However, we are having discussions with several of the local school districts to see if we might be able to connect and bridge these programs directly to our school districts and get more engagement. We do have some great supporters in both Marietta Valley and Lake Elsinore Unified School District who are looking to build those bridges of communication and ultimately provide this service. We're also looking at charter schools and homeschooling parents to see if there may be a way that we can provide STEAM nights, for example, where we provide almost a carnival-like experience for kids to come out and have fun with STEAM, which ignites the curiosity for what else might I be able to learn about STEAM. So we have a variety of ways of engagement, and we're looking to plow ahead with those here in 2020.
That's great. Awesome. And let's talk about the mentors. How are you typically finding your mentors, and how are the mentors engaging with these teens?
Great. So many of the mentors, interestingly enough, I like how in your book you talk about all paths leading to purpose and how everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Many of the mentors that have engaged with our program initially are people that I met in my previous work history. So people that I met through my work and my engagement with Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton. I worked with over 500 national and global employers, and so I had the opportunity to make a lot of connections. So many of those connections happened as a result of that work, them knowing what I'm doing now and seeing a real bridge. Also participating in networking events and getting to meet people who have a passion for what we do. That's another way that we're able to secure mentors. And often when people hear our mission and what it is we're trying to accomplish, the wonderful thing about this program is that no one needs to feel that they are not invited in to help, face this challenge. Knowing that we are underrepresented in terms of women of color in the STEM space, some of our mentors are not women of color. However, they understand how the challenge exists just being women in the STEM space.
Yeah.
So we have many mentors who have engaged with us who just see that this is a challenge. It is an area where there's a gap, and they do have something to offer in helping to close the gap and raise the awareness of young women who may be interested in these fields.
Great. And let's talk about funding for a minute. Have you been able to get funds for the nonprofit organization from companies that do see this as a problem and want to move the needle, or is funding coming from individual donors? What's been the focus on the funding side thus far?
Interestingly enough, it's been a combination of everything that you mentioned. Most recently, we hosted a Giving Tuesday campaign, and one of our board members is actually a real estate agent with Exit Alliance Realty in Temecula. Exit Realty is known for their giving back and their philanthropic philosophy on supporting community. And there is a foundation with Exit International called the Spirit of Giving. And the Spirit of Giving allows any of the realtors that work with an Exit office to bring one of their charitable organizations that they support and basically send a proposal to corporate asking for support in terms of matching funds. So as an organization, we were able to raise a particular amount of money, and the Spirit of Exit then matched that dollar for dollar. So on Giving Tuesday, we were actually able to raise $3,020, and Exit Alliance, the Spirit of Exit will match up to $2,900 of that $3,020. So that was a huge win for us this year, a great way to close out the year. We also have many of our mentors donate on a monthly basis because they, again, are strong advocates of what we're doing and are trying to do what they can to help us to do the work to help close the gap. And also corporate sponsors are always very important to us, make such a difference. We recently had our Hera Hub Temecula owner to come out and speak at one of our end of the year events where we recognize all of the girls and their accomplishments for the year. And so Dr. Alicia Wilkins was able to come out and to speak to the young women about becoming successors and looking at their futures and understanding the pathway of success really begins with a knowledge of who you are and the confidence in who you are. So we're very, very appreciative to have Hera Hub Temecula in support of our efforts for this year and there as a keynote. So we do have that connection and community, and we're looking to continue to build that forward, inviting other especially women. I think there's just a message that's sent to young women to see other women supporting women. So we're always happy to invite anyone who is interested in supporting our cause, and especially other women who are in the fight with us.
Yeah, I so see this, as I'm sure you do too, as being a perfect opportunity for some of our larger San Diego based or Riverside County based companies that are, in this world of science, technology, math, engineering, to maybe sponsor a cohort or a number of cohorts, because this is their future. This is their future
Mhm.
job applicants, and I think companies are really starting to see they have to groom, they have to reach down even into junior high to inspire diversity in these fields, because it brings such value to the companies to have that
Yes.
diversity, and it's so exciting to see companies realize that. So hoping that in 2020 you'll be able to tap into some of those organizations as well.
Absolutely. That is most certainly one of our most important goals. Having just attended the California STEAM conference in Anaheim, we're really able to make some great connections within industry to say, hey, we're here. We're a community-based program that's looking to take one small slice of a much greater problem. But as we're able to reach each one, there's no limit to the possibilities of how this could expand and how the messaging expands as you flip the switch for one young woman. That young woman goes on and becomes a catalyst of change herself. So we're just very excited and blessed to have the opportunity to be doing the work that we're doing. And so far have had such wonderful partners who have definitely supported us, even as young as we are, have seen our passion, have seen our drive and our purpose, and have stood with us. And so we're very thankful for that and look forward to what's ahead.
Fantastic. So on that topic of what's ahead, what are some of the things that you are excited about, in addition to what you mentioned, maybe new programs or new things that you're looking at for 2020?
Absolutely. So one of the things that really I am excited about are the opportunity to host community STEAM nights. And why that's so exciting to me, Selena, is because I think that in as much as STEAM has become sort of a buzz term that people are familiar with and they know what it means, I'm really not sure that people understand what the connection is to our future. And so I think by hosting these community nights, we're able to speak to stakeholders, we're able to speak to parents, we're able to obviously engage the students in the hands-on activity, but also the conversation around why it's important and what the outcome looks like. These nights are just powerful because so often you find that people who would support your cause just can't commit to come to, a 5-week program and, sit through and shadow for that. But they could do a theme night. They could do a one day or one evening high impact event in which they're immersed into our world and understand the why of what we're doing. I think when most people understand why something is important, it makes it a lot easier for them to become advocates. So that's one thing that I'm very excited about doing. I think will have a great impact in our communities. And building on the idea of entrepreneurship, we're really looking to expand our Girl Boss Business series. We recently did a financial literacy course that really went well because I think you can certainly appreciate that it's important for us to teach young women how to have a great relationship with money.
Yeah.
So often, as parents, we just teach or show or model what we knew, and that's not always in the best interest of our young ones. So we really wanted to take that on board and say, hey, part of being a girl boss is understanding your relationship with money and making that a healthy relationship that'll serve you your whole life. So that is something that I'm very excited about building forward, and then even engaging more entrepreneurs to partner with us as we build out the Girl Boss series, and eventually having pitch competitions, and helping young women to kind of formulate their ideas into proposals, and maybe even be able to secure funding for those ideas. So that is something that is in development that I'm very excited about and look forward to launching over 2020.
Love it. Awesome. Well, Kristen, if our listeners want to find you, they want to learn more, they want to reach out, what is the best way for them to do that?
Sure. Well, they can always visit our website, which is www.msk, which stands for My Sister's Keeper, successinstitute.org, O-R-G. They can visit our website, learn more about who we are, what we do, how we do it. It breaks down into detail each one of the mentions that I made about the different 5-week pathways, the entrepreneurship program, the coding programs, our half-day workshops. There they can get more information about that, and certainly reach out and email us. Should they have any questions, they can do that through the contact form or through our info at msk-successinstitute.org.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Kristen.
Thank you, Felina, for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining this week's episode of Flight Club, sponsored by Hera Hub. We look forward to sharing more success stories with you soon.